Hey, this is Seth with In Demand Career. I show people how to get life-changing jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And that includes my very special guest today, Danial, who was a poli-sci graduate 4 years ago, doing phone sales at Yelp when he found my course. He got his first agency job after taking my course, making $60,000 a year. And now he is making $120,000 a year, working for a pretty cool company. And I'm very excited to share his story with you. Thanks for being here, Danial.
Yeah, no, thanks for inviting me, Seth. And yeah, thanks for kind of bringing me in and teaching me, how I can kind of acquire this kind of job because, yeah, my story was is pretty insane when I kind of look back on it. But yeah, I am currently working at Study.com. They help with online learning, so tutoring, help with teacher prep. Just it's an ed tech company that helps students and teachers kind of help with like test prep. But yeah, I'm managing.
You're telling me
Oh
that
yeah,
it's basically like it's almost like a community college kind of situation. It's a way for people to get college credit courses without paying the ridiculous tuition prices at colleges, thousands of dollars. And also, as you said, teacher certification and test preparation and stuff like that.
yeah. So it's kind of circumventing the whole college experience. They give college accredited courses to kind of help supplement and get through college quicker and not have to pay the expensive tuition.
Right.
So that's
So
great.
it's a good resource, guys. If you are in college and you are, in that in that whole world of paying these crazy prices, it's a way for you to kind of get some of those credits a little bit cheaper. But
Yeah.
what are you actually doing for them and how much are you making?
Yeah, so I help manage their Facebook ads as well as their Google search and Bing ads. So it's me and a team of two other people who are kind of actively auditing and trying to find new opportunities for growth within their company. So setting up new campaigns, kind of negating keywords. Some of the things that you kind of learn in the course are applied. But what's great is I'm making $120,000 annually, which is amazing considering I started actually making 60K at the agency, but even 36K at Yelp. So I've like doubled my salary, twice over within the span of 3 or 4 years, which is insane if you think about it from just a corporate standpoint.
It really is. That's what's possible with these skills, guys. And we, as you said, you were like the typical college grad because you had this, poli-sci degree and we're making 36K in the Bay Area
Yeah.
as a phone sales, which is a job you
Yeah.
could have gotten without the degree. And now
Yeah.
you've leveled up to this point. And the colleges are going to claim credit. That's the thing that kind of stinks about the statistics, because you earned your degree and now you're making over six figures. They're going to say, well, he's a success because he has a political science degree, which is unfortunate. But I'm very happy for you. I think it's very exciting. So, and also the study.com, I mean, you're in the college space. That must be very competitive because I know it's expensive to advertise because colleges spend so much money advertising because they make so much money.
Yeah.
What kind of budget are you working with?
Yeah. So the budget is, around 1 to 2 million annually. But it it's it is very competitive, like you mentioned. Like for example, for tutoring, like if you're just looking at the auction insights, all the universities who are looking for, or all the universities and even other ed tech companies are all trying to compete for those keywords. So, prices are always kind of increasing with those kind of keywords. But
What's the cost
uh,
per click? And guys, if you haven't
oh
taken
yeah,
this, cost per click is just the price. When you click those little ads on the side of Google, a company is paying for that click, and it can be pretty crazy expensive. So if you Google
yeah,
tutoring, what is like the average cost per click
yeah,
in that industry?
it's insane. It can go up to $40 to 60, $70, which I mean, for other keywords, it can, go down to $1 to $5. So for just one click, that's kind of insane, and you can get through your budget pretty fast. So
Wow.
even like that, those campaigns were kind of like toning down a little bit, since what we charge for our tutoring services is probably not nearly enough as
Right.
compared to some of the other ones. So you're kind of doing those kind of analyses all the time, where you're trying to see like, okay, is it worth even advertising in this space if our product is this much? Should we tone down our bids for this campaign, or should we be more aggressive with this campaign, since we're seeing a lot of membership and registrations there? So
Right. This
it's
is
a
the
lot of
same
fun.
issue I run into because, obviously I'm teaching people like better skills and getting better results than the colleges, but my course is a few $100s and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars per customer.
Yeah,
So that's how the colleges literally, like, when people say, oh, it's not about the money, I'm like, these colleges are spending real money to get
yeah,
customers. Which is, they don't talk about that in your high school. Your guidance counselor doesn't talk about that in high school. So
yeah.
but anyway, this is very exciting. I want to get more into like what your life is like right now. Because I know it's very cool to be, having that kind of financial stability just a few years
Yeah.
into your career. Let's go back to the beginning. People always want to know, how did you actually get here? So you took the course back in 2017 initially. And so
Yeah.
why don't you tell us, like, what was going on in your life when you found the course? What was it like being a recent graduate with a political science degree?
Yeah. So, oh man, if when I look back, that time was definitely extremely rough. Like looking for jobs, and you always kind of get the same questions from people like, oh, have you tried this? Everyone's kind of trying to put in your input. So for me, it's like I'm getting all this information on how to apply for jobs, and I don't even know what jobs I'm applying for, frankly, or what is considered a good job. And that's probably how I ended up at Yelp doing kind of cold call sales. But yeah, I completely sympathize with people, maybe some of your students who had struggled kind of looking for a job and finding a job. It's a very painful process. But luckily with this course, it laid out very specifically like what skills I would need to have, what I should highlight in my resume. And I remember back when I started, I was getting interviews and I didn't even get Google Ads certified. And you told me like, dude, just get the certification. It's not that hard. Got the certification, and then that kind of helped me land the AdTaxi job. So your blueprint is it gives you the exact step by step on what to do. It's just you kind of have to have that faith, and you kind of have to have your own initiative as well to kind of analyze and see what places you're missing and what you need to highlight. And just kind of gaining that experience too is how I kind of leveraged and was able to kind of get multiple offers, as we'll get into.
You did what I teach in the course, which is generate your own experience, and you were getting
Mm.
interviews. And I remember you were excited, you were confused because, you had spent 16 years in school. They never talked to you about job interviews or resumes or any of these things. And obviously a smart person, you did a political science major. People spend so much time in these academic settings and then they come out and they're just completely clueless. And then, you do get a lot of advice from people. That's the worst, where
Yeah.
people, oh, you should try this. You should try this. Like, dude, it's like, it's not like, it's not astrology. It's not like, oh, you should try this. Why don't you, do this dance or something? It's like, dude, I did in the college. That's the interesting thing. You went to University of California, Santa Barbara, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And did they you study political science, and then did they give you any kind of guidance about how to get a job or?
No, yeah. That was the funniest thing, is like, you definitely need to take your own initiative when you're in college, but they did not let me know like what kind of jobs I could get coming out in political science. Like my assumption was like, oh, maybe I'll go to law school, I guess, because you're in political science anyway. So or become a bureaucrat. That's some random job title I came up with that I would have. I have no idea, what jobs are offered in political
I love
science.
that.
Yeah.
That's not a job title.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
soulless cog in the machine. I'd like to apply to be a soulless cog in the political machine, which is
Yeah.
no, but that's perfect. I mean,
So,
you said it was like most students have absolutely no, and these professors are so clueless. They're not going to be able to help you figure that out. And you're right. There's really nothing you can do with a political science degree except go to law school,
become a professor, or
yeah.
or yeah.
And then what happens, guys, it's funny when you look at, if you do look at earning statistics, you might see political science majors, maybe they do make okay money. The only ones that are making money are the ones who went on to law school. Just like that happens with history degrees too. It's like, oh, he makes money with his history degree. No, it's because he went on and got a law degree. So you're working at Yelp, and this is the other thing I was going to focus in on, guys, because obviously, you know, my book, Skip College for Success, I'm giving it away for free now. And what do I say in the book? I say college grads work in 3 fields across the board. This is it: customer service, sales, and administrative, meaning office jobs. All jobs you could get without a degree. That's why underemployment for college graduates, working jobs that didn't require a degree, is through the roof. So like, you were working at Yelp doing, you know, you're at Yelp. So people are thinking, oh, Yelp, that's got to be exciting. What were you actually doing at Yelp?
Yeah, so it was cold call sales. So we were calling small business owners, selling them on their pay-per-click campaigns, and you know, kind of making recommendations. But it was a lot of, hey, F you, I've got a job, you know, like stop calling me kind of kind of situation. Yeah. It was a lot of no's, a lot of hard no's, which kind of helps with the interview process, I guess. That's the bright thing I took away from it. But yeah, like you had mentioned, this kind of job did not require a college degree. There were people who I was working with that did not graduate from college. You know, some of them didn't even graduate from high school. And it was very, like, at least in the Bay Area, it's very kind of liberal. They're not very judgy, but there was a guy with a face tattoo who got the job too, which that surprised me as well. But yeah, so the college degree was not required for the sales job. You know, maybe for the other jobs, but I don't think so, because they were really looking for. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, and then Danielle got a job at AdTaxi, which is a big agency. Mm-hmm. And how you knew about AdTaxi is because one of my colleagues who did not go to college is a military Marine. You know, he got his first job there, or his second job there. And I use him as a great example of, you don't need a degree. So,
okay, well, then there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but obviously it wasn't the degree that got you the agency job. It was the experience, it was the skill sets and everything. So what was it like when you got the job at AdTaxi back then, and how did that change things for you?
Yeah, so for me, that was like a huge shift, right? Because I was going from daily cold call sales to kind of managing different ad campaigns for both small business and medium-sized businesses. So it's like you're shifting to more analytical, and there's no, you know, obviously convincing people that digital advertising is the way. They're already convinced, they're, you know, they're already customers, right? Now what you're basically doing is optimizing their campaigns, letting them know what areas they have room for opportunity, and then just improving those campaigns month over month, and reporting that performance back to them. So for me, the agency was perfect for getting a lot of that experience, because I wasn't sure like how, you know, accounts were structured. Every company has their own niche. Even like medical field companies always have ad disapproval. So kind of getting used to that really helped me start working in-house as opposed to an agency, because I got in the mindset of, okay, what is really a sales qualified lead for these companies, and what are some, I guess, search queries or keywords that I should remove or negate. So, you know, for any of your students or people who are looking to join, I would definitely recommend an agency to kind of build that experience. However, I will say that it is a lot more stressful of an environment, because you're constantly trying to get campaigns running. So yeah, there's definitely a benefit, but yeah.
Yeah, we've had, you know, so many of our students get agency jobs, and again, it's great. Again, you're getting paid to learn essentially, and you're managing probably. How much ad spend were you managing when you started? Do you remember?
Yeah, so I think it was around 50,000 a month, which is still that's a lot considering I had not managed any ad spend previous to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It shows you again the need for skilled talent in this field. They'd take a guy with no experience who was doing phone, sales and give
Mhm.
him, that kind of responsibility. And guys, if you don't understand, by the way, he said cold sales. This means, and again, this is so many college graduates are doing jobs like this. Literally, you're calling people on the phone who you don't know. And it's one of the
Yep.
hardest things to do. You
Mhm.
call someone up and you're trying to sell. Now, you can use that skill set to get freelance clients. That's how one of the
Yeah.
agencies I worked at, that's how they got all their clients. And if it's your client and you're going to make, a good profit and build a relationship, then cold calling, while difficult, there's better ways to approach leads nowadays, obviously using the internet and, other ways of networking. But if you're going to get your client from this technique, that's worth it. But if you're getting paid $36,000 a year in the
Yeah.
Bay Area,
Especially in the Bay Area. I think, yeah, I was very lucky because I was living with my parents, so it's not like, but there were people who had to get multiple jobs obviously to survive on that salary because there's no way in the Bay Area, if any of your viewers are familiar, it's an expensive place to live. So
right? So what was it?
there's
What was it
okay.
like? What was it like making that? You're making 60K at AdTaxi.
Yeah.
How did it change your life? Like, and this was, and you were working in an office at the time, right? This is before
Yeah.
everything went crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So actually that was my first experience working from home, right? So that company allowed us to work 1 day from home. So at the time that was kind of like, oh wow, you get to work from home. So yeah, for me it was a combination of obviously the salary increase is nice because you get to live more comfortably, but um the ability to kind of work from home and have a more flexible work environment was huge because if there was a something that I had to get done that was outside of work, maybe have an appointment, I could just pull out my laptop from home and not have to go into the office, right? It's not like very strict. Like at Yelp, it was very strict. Like if you had shown up like 5 minutes late to work, they're like, "Hey, what are you doing? You're getting paid by the hour here." Where at Taxi, it was like you get the work done, you prove the results. That's all we need to really see from you. And so while the salary definitely it's always better to get a higher salary, especially getting paid your worth. But to me, the work-life balance is where I saw the biggest change, right? Your managers are not seeing you as like a number or, you're not making certain metrics. It's, are you performing? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to improve? So a lot more humane, I suppose.
Absolutely. Absolutely,
Yeah.
man. And I want to talk, we'll maybe come back to that because obviously we talked to so many of my students who do get this great support from the team. You can ask questions. They're not just going to throw you into the fire. But I'm sure what everyone is wondering is then how did you go from, making 60K to making literally twice that $120,000 a year at your current job? And you've got
Yeah.
about 3 or 4 years of experience. And I tell you guys, what do I tell you guys? First year entry level, second year by your end of your first year 60K, and by 2 to 3 years in you can make six figures. So why don't you tell people a little bit about getting this job with study.com?
Yeah. So this was definitely more of like a negotiation tactic that maybe some of your viewers can use, but it was applying for multiple jobs and getting offers around the same time that was huge for me, right? So when I got the offer for study.com, I had an offer from a company called Coursera. And then I also got another job offer from another startup, right? And so what had happened was I had the ability to basically go back to all those recruiters and say, "Hey, I'm getting this offer from this recruiter that's offering me 90,000." And then the other one saying, "Okay, we'll go back to our management and see if we can get you a better salary." Then they'll come back and give me 110, and then you know offer from the other recruiter is like, "Oh no, we'll beat you." So if you can plan all your interviews so that you have those late stage interviews at around the same time, uh, and you can get multiple offers, that would be huge for kind of negotiating your salary up, because Coursera was offering me 85,000 and then went up all the way to 110. So to me, I was like, I was slightly insulted. I was like, you were going to pay me 85,000 and now it's just in a matter of 2 days you're giving me this
It's,
much.
yeah.
But that's how business works, right?
Yeah.
They're willing to pay you as much as you're willing to accept. So I would say the biggest thing you guys can do is get multiple offers around the same time if you can, because what's going to happen is when they give you that offer, they won't give you too much time, obviously, to make a decision. So you want to make sure that you have it within that same window. That way you can come back with, hey, I have this offer. Can you match? Or I don't even say match. Can you beat this offer? And then they'll usually come up with something else or something
Yeah.
bigger.
You guys, so this is for obviously people who are already into their career, and a lot of you guys watching or haven't taken the course, you're new. I want you to know this is what's in your future. So get excited about this, and this is how you do want to think. You're like a free agent in a sport. You're a football player. And you need to stand up for yourself and conduct yourself this way. Now, it's fine. It's up to you. I've had students, like I remember talking to like Armando, who works at Caesar's Palace, and he's making a good salary, but I've told, you should, here's how you can leverage it up. He just loves his job. He doesn't really want to do that. That's fine. But for a lot of you guys, we'd like to let you know that, yeah, this is why Angel said, always be applying, always be applying. And if you are planning to change jobs, this is absolutely the right way to do it. It's like you have multiple interviews, and, you can't exactly control this except for the timing, which is to say you start applying and getting interviews. You don't know when exactly you're going to get the offers, but if you have the experience, like you had 3 years experience, it's really powerful to have multiple offers. And it's a very natural thing, guys. This isn't like, in other fields, like, oh, I have to study negotiating tactics. It's very natural. It's just like, these guys want to pay me more. Can you pay me more?
Yeah.
Right. And you were working with recruiters, and that's the other thing, guys, to remember. And then again, this applies to you even if you're brand new in your career. You have to understand the power of recruiters and temp agencies. Recruitment is a cutthroat business that I do not want to be part of, where these recruiters are paid like agents, like a talent agent. They get like anywhere from 10 to 30% of that salary. So whoever placed you in that job at salary.com probably made between $12,000 and $25,000 or $30,000 in commission. Now you have to imagine these guys are working, they're going after this kind of a payday. They want to get paid. So they're going to be pushing really hard to get you that money that will get you hired by their company, And that's just what happened. So you went from an initial $85,000 offer all the way to 120. That's a $35,000 increase. And it does speak to the fact that, yes, I mean, I always read these posts on LinkedIn where there's a guy who posted and he said, I was willing to offer this person 100,000, but they only asked for 70. So I gave them the 70. And there's a lot of back and forth, people arguing, is that ethical or not? And I was like, well, it's business. You can't, the person offering the job isn't going to teach you how to negotiate, but you just have to bear this in mind and always be aware of the value of your skills. I guess that's the thing. And don't be afraid to ask for more. Before I got into digital marketing, I remember I worked at a company where everyone was making like 40 or 50,000. And I told the boss I wanted 60,000. And he actually yelled at me. He was like, that's ridiculous. But then they hired me not at 60, but like second highest salary in the department, because I pushed. So that's really great. So what's it like now? And this job is remote, I imagine, right?
Yeah, so it is remote. Well, I think everyone's working remote at this point, but yeah, it's I have a lot more freedom in this job, I would say. If I see opportunity in a certain platform, I can kind of make those suggestions and kind of push for that. I have a lot more autonomy on how I work. It's not like they're saying, oh, these are the tasks that need to be done. It's kind of like, this is what I see, and this is what the data shows me, and what opportunity I think could happen, and they're willing to test anything, right? So that's another good thing about this space is management is generally a lot more open with what you can test because it's constantly changing, right? Like even Facebook ads is constantly changing. There's new platforms, TikTok's coming out, Snapchat's coming out. So in a space where there's a lot changing, the management is always allowing and willing for you to test new ideas. And for me, that's a lot of fun because, I love experimenting. I love tinkering and trying out new things, even at home. So for me, it's kind of that perfect fit where I can use a lot more, I guess, analysis and use more of my brain as opposed to kind of mindlessly, calling or just data entry. To me, that kind of work isn't as interesting. And so this is kind of that perfect fit where I'm able to be analytical, I'm able to think out of the box, and I'm able to experiment.
Right. You're talking about, I mean, in-house job is where it's going. You're working for one company versus 20 companies. And again, an agency job is great, but it's like, yeah, if you have 20 accounts to work on, you can't put that kind of attention into account. And if you're working for a cool company, I had that experience when I worked in-house. If you're working with a cool company that gets that marketing is about experimentation, then it can be a lot of fun because you can try stuff. And they're cool if it doesn't work, because that's what marketing is. It's trial and error. And what's it like in terms of your lifestyle? I mean, making this much money, working remotely, like how has that affected your life? Have you bought anything cool? Has it made things easier?
Yeah. So I had mentioned earlier, but I had purchased a motorcycle. I do want to continue adding to my retirement account and 401k because compound interest is everything for me. But I do also have that thing in me that wants to splurge. So I did buy a motorcycle for 8K. So that was nice. I'm able to kind of eat out as I please and travel. I went to Iceland a few years back. Bali I went to as well. So I'm able to kind of take time off and travel and also spend a little, but I also have, my sizable retirement account, which is awesome. Because, there's a lot of people who are working paycheck to paycheck and might not even have any money for retirement, right? So for me, having that salary increase has kind of allowed me to have that leverage of, having a work-life balance, having, cool toys, and then also just saving up for my retirement.
Yeah, guys, that's huge. There's so many people. And were you able to pay off your student loans?
Yeah. So I don't have any student loans, thank God. I actually went to community college for 2 years, so saved money there. I have a buddy who went to NYU, and I think his was up to like 200K or something insane, or more than that.
Wait, really? He had that much in loans?
Yeah. Cool. He also went to dental school as well, so
Okay.
it was
All right. So it
whatever.
wasn't for like an English degree. That's
Yeah.
but
Well, he majored in political science as well, and then
oh,
yeah.
so was he in $200,000 worth of debt for his undergrad and dental degree?
I think both. It might be half a mil. I think around there. Yeah.
That's the hardest thing, even if you're going into a profession like dentistry. It's like, yeah, you're going to make good money, but that's still, you're not like a cartel deal. You're not making millions. You're making six figures, and then it's still going to take you. Oh my God. But in your case, I'm glad you did it smart. You did community college and went to a state school. So
I highly recommend. I think, if any of your students are still in high school,
if you're going to go to college, which you really should, go ahead.
Yes. That is a very good caveat. If you're kind of forced into college by by your parents, or actually they shouldn't be forcing you, but anyway, if you do end up going to college, I would highly recommend going to community college. Drop the ego that you're not going to be able to party with your friends and all that. You'll be saving a lot of money by going to community college for 2 years, and you have the ability to have what's called a tag agreement, or contract agreement where if you maintain a certain GPA, you'll get into that college anyway. So that's my 2 cents on community college or
Yeah.
college if you choose to go to that.
If you go that route. And the other thing,
Yeah.
guys, I would say, like, if you are you've got FOMO about your friends going off to college, that what you could, the thing I always tell people to do is just move to that city. Like,
Yeah.
get a job or get, learn these skills and then get a remote job, or even just get any job in that city. Just like move with your other friends who aren't going to college, and you can party with your college friends.
Yeah.
It's like so ridiculous. One of the funniest things to me about NYU, which is where I went, is that the school is terrible. It is a terrible school. And it was a joke in the 90s when I went there, except for their prestigious film program, which is also terrible. But the funniest thing is it became very popular, not because it's this great academic institution, but because it's in New York City.
Yeah.
And I was like, kids, and then people were going, oh, it's my dream school. I was like, really? You're like dreaming of going into debt so you can sit in a classroom? But literally, the best thing about that school is the city. Literally, it's just being in New York City is so amazing that, that's what it had going for it. So now, and then I had friends going to like SUNY Binghamton and other with college campus. I was like, yeah, this is a lot of fun to be in basically a summer camp with other 20-year-olds. It's fun. But you shouldn't have to go into debt for the rest of your life to pay for it. So like literally just move off campus. And that's the other thing that's really funny is a lot of people in their second or third year move off campus anyway. It's like literally you could go move to any of these college school cities. And I was going to do a whole separate video on this. Like, yeah, move to Pittsburgh or move to like wherever there's like 5 colleges or, Boston. You will be able to hang out and party with all the other college students and you won't be living debt.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to like kick you out of the bar because you don't have your, you're not enrolled. But anyway, I think it's wonderful. I mean, you're in your, how old are you now?
28. So still, still fairly young.
Yeah. I mean, you got into this field when you're 24, you didn't have that much debt to begin with. You paid it off. Now you've got a retirement fund. And that's the coolest thing. I was like, you guys, and you have no idea, in 20 years, you guys are going to be running the country, all you guys, because you thought differently and you got, skills that people actually need. And, you have a big responsibility at this job. I'm just curious, like, what did your family, or I don't know if you have a relationship, or like, how did the people in your life react to your career change and what you in your current job?
Yeah. So they're always very supportive of, whatever I kind of wanted to pursue. So for me, that wasn't a huge issue. I mean, they were wondering like, oh, is this, what is this? Because, when you explain kind of digital marketing and digital ads, it's hard to kind of communicate to people who might have not heard of it. But yeah, they were very supportive and obviously willing for me to kind of test this new kind of avenue, right? Because I had spent the past 4 years studying political science. The assumption was probably that I would, I guess, become a lawyer or go into that field. So they're very supportive and really wanted me to kind of pursue this, but they still have that kind of thought of, oh, but maybe you should go to graduate school, or maybe you should, go back to school and study more into this kind of thing. And I'm trying to explain, like, the schools don't have this kind of material and learning knowledge that I will kind of at this job. So yeah, that's still kind of in the back of their heads, like, oh, you should get a PhD or something in digital marketing. But it's like, this field is changing. There's no way.
That is so, I mean, guys, you have to understand though, that people about education, people are nuts. Like, they really will have the strangest idea. It's like they would never ask that type of question about buying a vacuum cleaner or a car. Like, it's just like cars, like, buy the car, here's the car, here's what you pay for it. College, they have these crazy, like, you're already making 6 figures in digital marketing. You're at the even the peak, because you could still level up from there. It's like crazy to like ask, like, think what benefit would they think getting an advanced degree would get you career-wise. It's like, and the funny thing is, you actually went into one of those master's programs, you'd be learning nothing. You'd be going backwards, learning from a professor who is less far along in their field than you are. So it's a crazy thing. What do they think you'd get from doing that? Or is it just it's the cultural conditioning?
I think it's a cultural thing, right? So it's like, when you look at, I guess, well, my parents and, uh, their friends and family, it's kind of like they see other people who have gotten higher degrees and, you know, uh, gotten higher pay, maybe because they're in engineering or whatever field they're in. I think it's just emotion thing, right? Like if other people are doing it, then it must be the right thing to do, right?
Absolutely. And I'll just speak to that, guys. By the way, that's the funny thing too, is like advanced degrees do not earn you more money no matter what the misguided statistics say, unless you're in engineering or some of these very specified scientific technology fields. You got people walking around with master's degrees in education or sociology and they're broke. But I was going to do a whole video on this, which is, parents, this is the thing about parents. Parents are like you. They have friends and they want to look good for their friends and they like to brag about their kids. So like what their kids are doing is a huge deal for a parent's ego. And college, for whatever reason, is status. So whatever your background is, in some cultures it's more intense than others. They literally use college as a status symbol and an ego trip for their friends. Because they'll be like, oh, what's Johnny doing? And if you're like, oh, he's getting his master's degree, like it just sounds good to the parents. They don't care about the practical like pitfall of that or the money. They just it's a way to talk to the parents, and that's another reason why parents are so hesitant to let their kids skip college, because it's such a social status. The culture is so insanely wrapped up in this. They literally do not want to say to their friends, oh, my son didn't go to college. It's like shameful and it's absurd. So that's another reason why they are so crazy about forcing their kids into debt, because of their own little insecurities. So it's really cool when you meet parents who are secure enough to be supportive. And, obviously they can't tell you, what do they, I mean, you're doing so well. Like, that's what I think is so funny, is like, why would you go back to school? So yeah, man, I think, I think it's great. Thanks for telling people about, what you've accomplished. I think, guys, it should be I hope this is inspiring to you about what's possible, because again, these jobs keep growing. And remember, he had multiple offers that he leveraged. So the demand is still there. And as you go further into your career, you can just do so much more. So anyway, man, thanks for being here so much. Is there anything you want to say to me or anybody watching the interview before we wrap up?
Yeah, no, I obviously want to thank you again. I wouldn't have even considered or been in this field if it wasn't kind of for your course. So definitely a big thank you to you. And then to anyone watching, when you're going through the application process, just keep going, right? Like you're gonna get a lot of you might get a lot of no's, you might get frustrated. Like I had mentioned, there's going to be people giving you information all the time, but kind of stick to your gut and kind of be persistent and kind of keep analyzing yourself and see how you can kind of improve, because the whole interview process is a job itself. I think that should be considered a full-time job, is applying for jobs. So yeah, I would say just kind of keep your head up and keep improving there. So yeah.
That's great. That's great advice, man. I've added more interview training into the course, and I've even done some mock interviews with my students and encourage them to really interview each other. Because one thing I've learned is that you don't have to even have like mock interview with me or one of my coaches. Literally, if you do a mock interview with your friend, you can literally just practicing this. This is a job interview is like one of the rarest social interactions you're going to have. Like you talk to your friends, talk to your parents every day. But actually being in a room for a job interview is so rare that people are just out of practice. So if you just get used to answering questions and having a good succinct answer to a question, even if you don't have that much experience, you just come across as more confident and you get better at it. And a lot of actually one of my students, remember, after they do the mock interview, they usually get hired because they just become more confident and more relaxed. And that's great. That's great advice, because I know, everybody, whether you're in the course or not, can use inspiration and, encouragement, and knowing that if you're persistent and you don't give up, you will find your way. So thanks, man. And I'm wondering, can people reach out to you on LinkedIn if they have any questions for you?
Yeah. No, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. I'll I can, give feedback on whatever you guys or questions you guys have to have even for my job. But yeah, feel free to reach out at any point.
Awesome. Thanks. That's one thing I love about running this course is that people are so generous, the alumni, and there's a really great sense of community. So yeah, guys, I'm going to put his link in the video. And feel free to connect. We'll definitely do this again. We did I think we did an interview like 4 years ago, and now
Yeah.
we'll stay in touch and we'll do another one in the future. So
Yeah.
thanks for being here, man. And we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Yeah. I look forward to it.